I want to talk about the eclipse, and I know everybody's talking about it, but I got that's my opinion, so I have a different perspective. People keep talking about the eclipse in terms of judgment on America, and I would just like to say that I don't think that is the case. I know there's a lot of evidence in the past where you have, fault lines that act up when you have eclipses that pass over them. And, okay, cool. Who has control over the fault lines? God does. God is the one who created this earth, and He controls when these things happen, right? So, first, number one, I'd like to point out that the eclipse that passed over the same fault line, by the way, where the X is being made, back in 2017, and I'd like to point out that nothing happened then, and I think the reason why nothing happened then was I believe was a sign to America saying, if you do what's right, you'll be blessed. And look what we did. Okay, now I'm not saying that Trump is everything, okay? I'm saying that Trump is a good man, morally good man. Like, I think he's a legend, but I don't think he's a morally good man, okay? That's just my opinion. And what Trump did, though, was he took us, in a lot of ways, okay, he wasn't perfect about this, but he took us back to a constitutional way of doing things, okay? So, like with the courts, he was able to put in a bunch of judges that were considered, I think, for the most part, constitutional heroes. And the thing about the Constitution is that it is, in large part, derived from God's law, okay? And God said about His law that His law was good, and that the people who obeyed His law would be set apart, and they would be holy, and they would thrive, I guess. And so, what we did essentially was in a very small way, not nearly perfectly, not nearly in a big way, but in a small way began steps toward returning to a godly form of justice, okay? And I know that's not totally correct or perfect either, but in a small way, that's what we did with Trump. And you see that, the evidence of that is what happened with Roe v. Wade. And if you know anything about Roe v. Wade, like, that was not a hard decision so much as it was a step in the right direction towards reversing it, okay? And it made a lot of difference. And so that's how I view this next eclipse. Is one of the things that I think is interesting is that it's going over a whole bunch of towns that are called Nineveh. What happened to Nineveh in the Bible? Nineveh had a warning from God, and which was an eclipse, and they had a prophet come and say, if you don't repent, then you're going to be destroyed. And Nineveh repented. And so I see this eclipse as not so much a warning, but a sign from God saying, continue drawing towards me, okay? And what happened to Nineveh will happen to you. And like, as far politically, my opinion is that Trump will win. Well, okay. Let's put it this way, that he will be the next president of the United States, okay? There's a whole lot of, you guys know how that discussion goes around what could happen or won't happen or will happen with the election thing. But I believe he'll be the next president, and we will continue to move in small steps. This is not something that you can, pick up and set over here, and suddenly we're once again a constitutional republic like we're supposed to be. But in a small way, we'll begin to, again, return to godly forms of justice. And so I look at this as an encouragement from God to say, keep doing what you're doing. There's another thing in here that's important too to remember, and that is that God is raising up in this generation. He's raising up godly men who are going to fill those positions of authority in ways that you and I don't yet understand. I see that in small ways. It always starts small. It's never big. It's never this grand, big, bam like we want to see. It's always small, and that's happening. Okay, and just a really good example of this is what's happening on TikTok. Like, what you have is good ideas battling bad ideas, and that always, when you have the ability to do that, you always end up with the good ideas winning. But when you have platforms where good ideas are not able to be expressed, bad ideas always win. Like that's what's happening on TikTok. That's what's happening on True Social. That's what's happening on Twitter. Again, not perfectly, but in small ways. That's what I'm trying to say. Is small ways count because they project forward to bigger things. Thank you.